evening.
We got a full dog park.
Welcome to the Planning and Commission regular zoning meeting. Wednesday, June 24th. May I have a roll call, please?
Michael, oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff here.
Melissa here.
Daryl here.
Lynn here. Please rise. Amanda.
Amanda here.
Amanda, thank you for coming. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. So we have needed an approval for the regular agenda. Has everybody had time to look at it?
Yes.
Jeff? Amanda? Anybody
Yes.
have anything they'd like to add or change or nothing? Allison, nothing? May I have a motion, please?
I move that we accept the agenda as presented for June 24th, 2026.
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Daryl, second by Melissa, all in favor.
Hi.
Aye.
Next is the approval of the minutes of June 10th, 2026. Does anybody have anything on that?
No, ma'am.
Amanda?
No.
Michael?
No.
Melissa? No. May I have a motion, please? For the approval, anybody?
I move to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, June 24th, 2026.
No,
Oh, I see it in
minutes.
I motion to approve the minutes
No.
for the meeting of June 10th, 2026.
Second, please.
I have a question of procedure. I wasn't here. How can I second it?
You can second it.
Can you read the minutes?
I will second it.
If that's correct.
I think as long as you read the minutes, I think. Yeah, any thoughts on that?
Amanda's willing to jump in. All right.
Okay.
Jump in, Amanda.
I will second the motion to approve minutes from our last meeting.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Declaration of conflicts of interest. Does anybody have any conflicts on what's on tonight's agenda?
I do.
I do.
And Amanda? Okay,
Please,
and you?
sorry, could you please describe your conflict for a minute, for the record?
Ladies first.
I am the owner of 414 Eagle Street, which is on the agenda.
And I am representing the Midtown Village project, so I'll be recusing from the first part as well as 414 Eagle Street, as I may be the contractor on that job.
I'm sorry, repeat the second part.
The second part is I may be the contractor on 414 Eagle Street. I am acting as the contractor, so.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would respectfully suggest that the council or the commission take a quick vote on whether it's okay for Jeff to present his own file. I think it's been done before, but I think it should be on the record that you have discussed it. And
Amanda also.
I don't know if Amanda is planning on presenting her file, but same thing with Amanda if that's the case.
I am planning on, if there's any questions on my file, I would be here to represent that file.
So we need a vote on Jeff recusing himself from commission and presenting his project. Would somebody like to make that motion?
I make a motion to approve that.
And
I'll second.
a second by Daryl, go ahead.
I'll second.
And a roll call vote on it, please.
Michael, aye.
Then I, Melissa, aye.
You're all right.
Amanda? Amanda?
Aye. Amanda, aye.
Amanda, aye, thank you. And the same for Amanda's, please. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to let Amanda present her own projects.
And a second?
I'll second that one.
Motion by Michael, second by Daryl. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Michael, aye.
Then I,
Melissa, aye.
You're all right.
Jeff?
I think I'm recused.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to make A public comment on something that is not on tonight's agenda? No, is there anybody on Zoom?
No response.
Thank you. We will close public comment. We have no special presentations this evening that I'm aware of, are there? No? Design review and land use public hearings. Midtown Unit Development Final Subdivision. What? Jeff? And who's taking this here? Scott? Hi. Madison. Okay, Madison.
Madison, present first, if that's okay.
Jeff, will you officially recuse yourself?
I am recusing myself from this and will be presenting or answering questions.
Thank you. Okay, so this is fairly straightforward. And you saw the preliminary plat in November of 24, I believe. Very little has changed since then. It's still in the roughly the same configuration. There's still the same amount of lots and or units. Really all that's happened in between now and then is finalizing things like closure data, plat notes, all the different things that Jeff Spinell as the town attorney and Mike Sawyer, I'm sorry, Jeff Spinell as the town engineer and Mike Sawyer as the town attorney had commented on, and set a condition of approval at the last round of this preliminary or this PUD. So our code is set up a little weird in that the planning commission reviews the final plat, but the planning commission does not review the final plan or the subdivision improvement agreements. So y'all will make a motion for either approval with conditions, denial, or continuance tonight. And then that motion, as long as it's not the continuance, will be forwarded along to the town council at their next meeting where they will review the full planned unit development package. I can go into more depth about my staff report if anybody has any questions, but that is essentially the bare bones of what is being presented tonight as a final plat.
Does anybody have any questions of staff? No. Jeff?
I don't have any questions, Madam Chair.
You don't have anything to say?
No, this is pretty straightforward. Like Madison said, nothing's changed. This is basically just approving the new plat, which for all intent and purposes abandons all of the old interior property lines of the addresses as they have been for many years, and creating these 5 new tracts, A, B, C, D, and E, and the meat and potatoes of the final plan itself, and all of the covenants and all of the intricacies of that you guys have reviewed have not changed. And so tonight, like Madison said, this is pretty much just a formality of the plat itself and the subdivision of the property into the 5 new tracts.
Questions of Jeff?
No.
No. Okay. Public comment. Is there anybody in the audience? Mark? Please state your name and address.
Mark Cyphers, 342 Main Street. I was wondering if you guys could just bring me up to speed on where this is on Eagle Street.
Sure, it's at the 900 block of Minturn. So where the old Alpen Glass building sits, it's that parcel and several parcels around that parcel.
Okay, all right, thank you.
It's also, Izzy Quintana's, lot, previous lot.
Thank you, girl.
Is there anybody on Zoom?
Let me check. There are no raised hands on Zoom.
So that will close public comment. Is there anything else, anybody? So we will. You want to say something?
Yeah. We are lucky that our town engineer joined us tonight. I think Jeff is just stepped in solely because of this file. If you have any questions of the town engineer for this plat.
I have no questions.
Amanda, do you have anything?
I have no questions.
Well, Jeff, you might have shown up for 60 seconds.
I have a question because you're here. You can, I'm not even sure it's a question for you, town engineer.
Have you met him?
I'm Melissa.
She's sort of, she worked here years ago and now she's back again.
The Quintana parcel is being developed later. Is that from the plat here? Is that the last to be developed of this?
It might be a good question for the
Yeah.
applicant.
Thanks, Melissa. No, there's no specific order to this. Right now, we've been proposing this to build tract A first. But then after that, there is no particular order in the Quintana parcel. We've been talking with the fire district about a future fire station potentially. And then there's some other products to go on the tract C, the micro home side of it, that could move up in the order. So the future development or the order of the tracks could be in a lot of different orders. There's no specific order.
Great, thank you.
Carol, do you have anything?
I guess I have questions more for Jeff, that Jeff, rather than just Jeff.
Jeff Armistead.
Jeff, did you and CDOT get together on the access? I know there was some question as to, is there going to be one entrance or two entrances or what?
Daryl, before Jeff answers that, and he is more than free to answer that, I would like to say that that's not really relevant to this plat tonight. So if Jeff would like to answer that, he can, but that is not currently under review.
Okay.
But yes, Daryl, thank you. Yeah, that got worked out a long time ago. CDOT, right from the get-go, had told us that they had preferred one entrance. It was their preference for us to give up the second entrance. That, one entrance is on the old Quintana property. One entrance is on between 961 and 969. And we agreed with CDOT that we would only have one entrance, which will be through the Quintana piece. And then as it loops around, there will be a breakaway gate where the current access is for fire in the event that emergency services needs the access, but it will not be an in and out or an ingress egress for the property other than that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff. And with that, I think we're ready for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the Midtown Village final subdivision plat because the application conforms with the applicable criteria and standards of the Minturn Municipal Code and the Minturn Community Plan.
May I have a second?
I second that motion.
Choose first.
Thank you, Amanda. Motion by Michael, second by Amanda. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Michael, yes.
Lynn?
Aye.
Aye.
Melissa.
Daryl, aye.
Amanda?
Amanda, I.
Jeff, it's been a long road. Go to it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And now I will unrecuse myself and come back to the meeting.
Thank you. Next, we have what is
They're German chocolate cookies. Yeah. He's just been bringing me a lot of Kringles from Denver, so
oh, how nice
I
of
made
you.
him German chocolate cookies.
So the difference is mine was store-bought.
He likes the Kringles.
I do like the cookies.
It reminds me of a Hallmark show where it's the catering and she takes cookies everywhere when she's trying to get answers. Here's your favorite cookie. Be careful. Thank you for coming. Yes, thank you, Jeff.
Brad's actually headed back to home Friday, and he's driving through Green Bay because they're supposed to be the best Kringles in Green Bay. Yeah. All right, we'll see you.
Good luck.
Thank you. And thanks for
Everybody.
this. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. I know.
You might steal some.
Guys, thank you. Good night, guys.
Next on the agenda, 671 Main Street, variance request for relief from the rear setback.
So this is a request for relief from the 10-foot rear setback within the Old Town Character Area Residential Zone District at 671 Main Street. The applicant would like to install a 24 by 24 garage that has a building height of about 11.5 feet to the midpoint, encroaching 7 feet into the rear setback. So there'd be 3 feet in between the rear wall and the rear property line. I will say that previously there was a garage in actually further into the setback. It was I think a garage accessory building that did have to come down due to, I believe, safety concerns. And so this would technically be a lessening of what was previously there. However, since that building came down, technically the nonconformity went away. And so now the variance is needing to be requested. The applicant provided several examples of properties within his block or neighboring blocks that had very similar existing conditions to what he is requesting, with accessory buildings or garages being within 5 feet or up to the property line. That's not necessarily an argument that meets the criteria of the variance request. However, that does lend credence that if this variance request was granted in some form or fashion, it would not be materially injurious to the public's health and welfare. In my staff report, I did point out that sheds, which are a smaller accessory structure, normally limited to about 120 square feet, are allowed to encroach within the rear setback in the zone district, as long as there are 5 feet maintained between all property lines. So staff is suggesting that should this variance be granted, that the proposed location of the building be moved so that it is in line with the requirements that sheds have to abide by. So that is my very brief presentation. I can certainly go through, I can read into the record the variance findings required if you would like. I know y'all have all heard them before and they are in my staff report. It is up to y'all.
Yeah, would you like to?
No, but I do have a question.
Yeah, well, hold on.
Once we get there.
Would you like, do you have any questions of staff, Michael?
Yeah, but I think that maybe
I'd like to do it a little further down the line.
yeah, I think I have questions later, but in regards to the process, I understand the process.
So do I. So with that, next, would the applicant like to present?
Sure.
I'm hoping that's you because you're the only other one. Please state your name and address.
Michael Ayers, 671 Main Street, Ventura, Colorado. Madison pretty much summed up everything. We had purchased an older home with a older garage structure that I tried to save, and it became very clear to me that it was structurally unsound, and it is the famous Jello Shots garage that I tore down, so I have some upset people around town. But yeah, it was just, we tried to shore it up. I had an engineer look at it, and all the joists were twisted, and when they put this metal roof on it, they added weight, and it was getting ready to fall down. So I just kind of felt it was the best thing to do to remove the structure. There was almost no permanent foundation at all, so it was just more of a liability and a hazard than anything. But there's a lot of snow at Midturn, so I very much would like a garage. And with the weird shape of my lot and the position of my house, the best location, or pretty much the only location without destroying the integrity of the house, would be to place it directly behind the house. And with the 10-foot setback, that leaves virtually no backyard at all. which would be very nice if we could have a backyard for use. And with looking at the historical line of sight of the street, just about everything, if not 90% of the neighboring properties are at the 0 lot line. I wanted to have clear entry into the garage, and so I put it at 3 feet. I'd be very happy with 5 feet with the town. 3 feet gives us ample room for a backyard. But it also, at 10 feet, and I just discussed this with Scott, the existing, it allows cars to pull in at an angular, and they end up hanging out into the street. So I think that it should either be 5 feet or less, or 20 feet for driveway access. And I think that's something that could be looked at in the future for the planning changes. But yeah, our goal is just to be able to build a garage and have quiet enjoyment of our home and keep the integrity of the character of the street in Minter.
Okay, we're gonna open to public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who has a comment? No. Is there anybody on Zoom?
There are no raised hands.
Therefore, I will close public comment. Back to the commission. Jeff, would you like to start so we don't forget you?
Sure, thank you. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
First, I have a question. How long have you owned the house?
Just over a year, about 14 months.
Okay. And when you bought it, were you aware, or was it disclosed to you that the garage that was there was in a non-conforming situation?
I mean, I sell real estate for a living, so I was under the understanding that that was the case.
Okay. And this is going to be a garage. It's not intended to be a shed.
No, it's a 2-car garage.
Right. Nope. That's all the questions I have right now.
Amanda, can we go to you next, please? Amanda?
Yes, thank you, Lynn. So I have a couple questions of staff. Madison or Scott, can you just go back over the analysis with this coming into line with a shed? I just wasn't tracking that quite clearly with the 5-foot setback recommendation versus.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason why I brought up sheds within the staff report and in my presentation is that a shed is like an accessory structure or accessory building, depending on how we have it termed in the code, but it technically functions under slightly different regulations. So sheds are allowed to encroach within the rear setback of, I think, most zone districts in town, as long as 5 feet is maintained between all property lines. A garage is a slightly bigger shed, I think by about 300 or 400 square feet, I think. So not a terribly large building. But I wanted to, as part of my analysis, find something similar in our existing code to liken it to, so that I could tie it to, here's a less arbitrary number being for relief to be requested. And given that sheds are allowed to encroach, and I'm just like, well, a garage is just a bigger shed, then maybe that would be potentially more palatable, and it would also lessen the relief requested. I think I repeated myself a couple times, but hopefully that made sense.
That did make a little sense. And then could you also provide just details or remind us with a shed, how many square feet do we allow for build?
Sorry, finish your sentence. Apologize.
Nope. Yeah, for a building that's considered still a shed, because this is 24 by 24, which is 576 square feet. Mm-hmm. What's our allowance on the shed side?
Sheds are typically 10 by 12, so 120 square feet. And then they have a building roof cap or building height cap of 12 feet, I believe. I think I'm remembering that correctly.
Okay.
Anything else, Amanda?
That's it for me.
Just to be clear, our code, Madison's absolutely correct. So under our specific standards for things like sheds and greenhouses and so forth, it does call out that a shed is no bigger than 120 square feet. That threshold really has more importance from a building code standpoint historically. And it goes on to say that sheds in excess of 120 square feet of ground floor area or 12 feet in height require a building permit. So that's historically the town's way of saying you can have a shed and you can get it from Home Depot and you can put it on your lot and it can go right here on your lot and it can go into the setback, but you have to maintain 5 feet, but you don't need a building permit. Once you go over 120 square feet, I think current international residential code right now has bumped that up to 200 square feet is the new threshold. Our code still says 100. So yes, it does say that the typical shed is 120 square feet, but I think the only reason why that's here is to denote the threshold of if you go over 120, you have to have a building permit. It doesn't necessarily put a cap on the size of a shed.
Got it. Thank you for that clarity. Last question I have for staff is, have we reached out to like our building department? This is a skinny street. And obviously not our building department, our street works department, from that perspective of snow plow and maintenance. Have they weighed in on this request for variance?
We have not, I'll be honest, Amanda. However, given the surrounding properties, existing conditions of having sheds near or right up to the roadway, I believe it should not be an issue. However, that's certainly something we can follow up on.
Okay.
Would you like to go next, Michael?
Yeah, first I'd like to start with a general question. Are we gonna, because I have questions for staff as well, but are we gonna finish our questions with the applicant first and then move on to our questions for staff?
You can ask all your questions.
Or we're gonna bounce back and forth? Okay.
Where do you want to start?
I'll start with the applicant. When you removed the existing structure, did you discuss it with the town and get a demo permit, or did you?
Yes.
You did?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. And then I have some little bit more questions for staff. First, this is a new question I just wrote up in response to your shed comments and Scott's explanation. I understand that, okay, 120 square foot, basically you can pretty much somewhat put it wherever you want. Technically, after you go over, over the 120 square foot range, into the 500 square foot range, you might call it a shed, but there's stuff that says it's a shed forever. So technically, I think that the 120 square, I think that, that's a good explanation for a shed, but how it's written currently, I know that, but we're working hard on finishing up the code and, to have things spelled out. So that was just a new question and something I wanted to point out. The sides, the side setback, stated on page 19, where it says that, and of course our pages don't match up, but it says that there's nothing in the side setback. Well, actually, for my wedding ring, I had to have powder fixed because powder works on my stuff. So I was over there, and it looks to me like there's currently about 120 square foot shed that currently exists that that is like right up to the property line in the side and the rear setback.
Yes.
And that's not, well, it's stated that there's nothing there, but it's shown in the one map that it is there.
On the one map, you'll see that the garage is replacing that shed. Your map shows that.
On my, well, on the site plan application, it had the shed in place.
That is correct.
Your site plan shows it on top of the shed.
Yeah,
So it was assumed that.
I saw that too. Look, that the garage is being placed on.
I had it well, the plan was to leave 5 feet. Because I was gonna put my trash in it because I get to bury my trash every night, so.
Welcome to winter. Welcome to.
So that being said, there wouldn't be a clear setback in that corner.
Conformity already exists.
I agree. I agree. I agree with that. I don't disagree with that. I was just saying that, as stated, in our report, it says that it's clear. I understand Michael's point that where the garage is going, technically there's 5 foot from the garage. That being said, there's also something in the way that has a right to be there. And I know Daryl likes his 5 foot. What else do I have? A couple more questions for staff. Do we currently have in our current code any setbacks from garages pulling out in the public right of ways in regards to vision or anything? That's a tight road back there.
The only one I know of is on Main Street. I just have to be set back 18 feet.
Yeah.
But that's the only one I know of.
I mean, so my, so that, so that was one of the questions I have. I think that, all 4 variance criteria is being met. I think that, potentially public safety could come up if you're built out that far and you're backing out, because even we know that that's a crazy tight street back there, and certain spots of that road is one-way streets. Who knows? Maybe it's 25 foot wide all the way, but we know that stuff is all over the place. But I also was under, the impression that, moving forward as we were, if we were tearing something down that was non-conforming, that the intent is to bring it into conformity. So, I think it's a really hard thing to say that all the variance criteria has technically been met, because the applicant is definitely a smart, thorough person. You can tell just by the application, and but it does say in the beginning of the application that the rear setback requirement would create a practical difficulty and substantially limit the reasonable use of this historically platted lot, while construction of a garage may still be technically possible. So that's where I go to staff, who's been rewriting the code for a long period of time now. And I don't know if you answer this or not, I'm definitely not, if you don't answer it, but it might not be applicable. But to you, that being said, that the non-conforming structure is no longer there, do you believe that that's a hardship that meets the criteria where it says we have to meet all 4 aspects of variance to approve? Do you believe that this meets that criteria? It's a tough question. You don't have to answer.
Way to put us on the spot, Michael. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Could I comment to your comments, Michael?
Yes.
The town, I own a property in the town of Eagle, and the town of Eagle just finished their rezoning. And they have a lot of the similar issues that Midturn faces. And they actually, in their Old Town district, they actually came up with a 2.5-foot setback into alleyways. Now, I am not a right-of-way specialist, and I didn't do the research on that, but they have, and my property is on Wall Street, which borders Broadway, which borders the commercial district, 0 lot line, 0 setback. And they're allowing new builds to go to 2.5 feet from the town right away, which is an alley, which is a small street, but it is a lot busier than the traffic count that you're going to get on the back street for my property. Now, I'm just pointing that out on another municipality that just finished their code rewrite.
No, well, and I understand and appreciate, that point, but the thing is that, we've been working on changing our code and where you stated in 1904 that those restrictions of, the 25-foot lots create restrictions, for the town of Minturn itself in our new code rewrite. Now, I don't want to put staff on the spot, ask them another question, but whether or not that is actually the case and agreed to, I'm not quite sure. But for an example, over where First Bank used to be, you probably know where it is, right next to the old church.
Mm-hmm.
When First Bank owned it, everybody came down Eagle Street and they exited through the parking lot out on the main street. And nobody ever thought that that was going to be closed off. And when that became closed off, all the traffic goes down Eagle Street, and traffic has doubled or tripled because everybody exits out that way. And that being said, it could be similar down there, as time goes by and what gets developed here and there. That my concern, the two concerns that I have is, one, we tore down a non-conforming building, and as a town and with our current code, the intent of our new code is to make non-conforming structures conform. My other concern, which is, pretty serious concern, is, one, is a skinny street. And like you said, you don't have much traffic, but you could have more traffic at a certain point to determining what gets developed down the road. That being said, backing out in that skinny street and not seeing what's out there, I think it could create a public, safety concern as well. So, but I think that's all my questions.
Okay. Well, I guess I should have done research on, the city of Denver, they're 2.5 to 5 feet in all their alleyways throughout 90% of the zoning districts in the city.
No, I understand that, but the city of Denver probably has fairly wide roads.
Not their alleys.
And well, I don't, whether or not that's an alley or a street, it was 25 foot wide. I
realize that is a street, but I'm comparing it to an alley. Like,
I know.
No, but that being said, in my closures, I understand your points and this and that, but the majority of us sitting here, probably all of us sitting here, have been working hard trying to get everything cleaned up in Minturn and a clean code moving forward. So there was less variances being applied for, and this is Minturn, not Denver.
It is, and there's a precedent for 79% of variances you've already approved. So that's, going back to the history, you guys are changing, cleaning up, but you also set precedents with what has been done in the past.
Well, I saw your list, and a lot of that stuff seems to be a long time ago, because I believe that our code, rewrite was to try to clean it up, so we weren't giving out, variances like candy. And I think that in the past 10 years, there hasn't been that many that have been given. But no disrespect, Mike.
No, I.
Can I go on to Amanda?
I'm sorry. I'm finished.
Amanda, would you like to go next, please?
Yeah, so I feel like Lynn, I already asked my two most important questions, which were primarily of staff having to compare this structure proposed structure to a shed. So I've gotten the answers that I need from my perspective. So I've asked my questions. Thank you.
Carol.
Yeah, Mike, thank you. I had a question on how many homes or units are past your property heading, I guess it is southwest?
I did not do that. There would be one, two, I think three on the east side of the street. And I believe there's 3 on the west side of the street, but one of those is maybe a fourplex.
Okay,
Duplex.
Yes, so there's
'cause
4 on Main Street and then 2 properties on the backside of Boulder Street.
okay,
One of those has 2 units on it and one has 1.
well, and are any of the ones on that face Main Street, do they have a garage access or anything like that?
One of them has parking access.
Okay,
And then actually, no, well, or I guess, well, he has both kind of. So he's very narrow on the back on Boulder Street. I think he has enough room for 1 parking space, and then he has however many in the front. So 2 or 3 in the front, but they primarily use the front
okay.
Main Street.
Yeah, I was looking at the map, but I was trying to figure out the traffic,
Yeah.
basically.
So I think the houses on Main Street, most everyone, if you walk the street, they have access, but they 2 have access, 2 don't. But the ones that have access generally use Main Street.
Okay. And the fourplex, do you see much traffic on that one?
Well, I guess you said it's a 2plex. They have I don't know the width of the lot, 50 feet, but they have parking spaces right across the front.
Yeah, no, Michael was talking about traffic.
Yeah.
And all that,
I mean-
that's what I was trying to.
There's a new duplex, Carol, at the end of the street as well that Tommy Sullivan just bought.
That's not a duplex.
Okay.
701 Boulder?
Apparently, there's a house that we missed in that county.
701.
701 Boulder is a single family.
All right, it's a big single family.
It's a very big.
It's big.
There's definitely, I wouldn't call it traffic. I mean, I'm gonna be very excited, especially having teenagers drivers to be driving off the back of the property. Because we have, there's going in both directions, there's visual limitations to be able to pull out. We don't have the ability to, we'd be trying to back in every time and then stack multiple cars. That we're happy to have the back of the property open for
Yeah. And
parking or a garage, I guess.
right, yeah. So the access is directly off of Boulder Street, the southwest, I guess you would say.
Yes.
Okay, it's not off of the side because of that other shed, is that correct?
Let me pull up the map again.
Looks like the site plan shows the shed to the south going away and that open yard.
The site plan shows the shed to me.
Okay, yeah, I was just trying to get the lay of the land here.
This would be, this shed would be the, I don't know my direction, maybe the north.
Yeah, that's where that
Yeah,
shed.
Boulder runs north south. So I guess I could come here.
Pull in off.
Yeah,
So the full intent would have been to leave this portion. Now, again, if that's the requirement to do my garage, I will. I was just looking at it as I can't seem to get a new trash container from the town, so I now have 2 carabiners, or not straps over it. And Bear likes to play soccer with it, but yeah, so maybe this wasn't perfect, and my apologies here would be to leave this portion or this portion here. And
Okay.
then put my garbage there, but
okay.
again,
And as you're up there, Boulder Street, you'll come access how?
we would pull into here and then
Okay. That's what I was wondering, okay. what is to the southeast of your proposed garage?
This is Mark's property right here.
Uh-huh. What's that open area?
That is the yard.
Oh, okay. And you don't want to switch the garage to access from that side?
From
And then you take the garage there and put the yard on the other side.
No, just turn the garage.
Oh, so you pull it and then
Almost
go
doing a
into it.
U-turn.
Yeah.
yes, the intent here is to do snow storage and 2 more parking spaces.
Oh, okay,
'Cause
Okay.
we're a family of 4 and 4 drivers.
okay, I understand now. Okay. Question for staff. Is the variance here a request for a 3-foot or a 5-foot?
The request is for a 3-foot, staff is recommending 5 feet.
Okay,
Should the variance be granted, we're
Okay.
recommending the lessening of the relief
okay.
requested.
Okay. Michael, thank you. Thank you for your answering those.
Yeah.
So,
I have another question. Wondering.
jump in.
Sorry, I can't see, but I'm wondering, staff, could you remind me whether variances they stay with the property for the life of the property, or do they have do they carry from owner to owner?
They
Do
do
you
carry
just-
from owner to owner if it is a physical structure. So obviously the next owner, we're not going to go after them to tear down whatever is built as a
Okay.
result of this variance. If it was
Okay.
a use, then the use would go away as soon as that use stops. They would have to get approval for it, but if it's a physical structure, then it runs with the land.
Okay. Thank you.
Melissa.
I guess I'm struck by the fact that between your garage and your home, you have room to push this back X number of feet. And I think that's significant because I think it clearly means that you don't meet parts 1 and 2 of the variance standard. It is, I've lived in Minturn a long time. I know we've granted variances in the past, and that's why I got off of planning and zoning the first time around, is because it was like, here is our code on variances. And the Minturn way for a time was, those words don't really mean anything. And I've never really been a fan of that. And what Michael was talking about is that, we are trying to make the words in our actual code more enforceable. So I have a hard time with, I assume the yard you're talking about, you want to keep is behind.
Well, it's a definition of what hardship would be. I mean,
Sure. Yeah. And I'm aware. Do I think you meet hardship? I don't. I think it's a nicety and an inconvenience.
So you feel that the plan does not meet criteria, the current plan shows?
No, it is, and I'd like to read the actual variance criteria, because I do. I think in Minturn in the past, the words in our code have been rendered meaningless by our decision making. And I have long not been a fan of that. So going to page 21, 22 maybe, 21, the first 2 criteria is there are exceptional, extraordinary circumstances or conditions applicable to the site of the variance that do not generally to other property, apply generally to other properties in the same zone. That's not here. 2, the exceptional or extraordinary circumstances of the site, and there are none, create a situation in which the strict literal interpretation and enforcement of the specified regulation would result in a practical difficulty. Yeah, there's practical difficulty. Or unnecessary physical hardship inconsistent with the objectives of this chapter. And this is not a hardship.
Thank you.
Sorry.
no, it's just.
And last but not least, I have a few questions. Number 1, I'm going to, now that I know that you're planning on keeping the shed, that adds to my question, because in your application, you have, okay, hold on. Your application, which is on page 24 or 89 of the packet, Building footprint is 780. That is the house, I assume.
I'm sorry, the,
Building footprint.
Yeah.
The garage is 24 by 24. That would be 576 square feet, which would take that figure, the next one of total impervious up to 1356, not 1200.
okay. So,
And then now you're talking about the shed, which would also be considered part of an impervious surface. That would have to be corrected.
okay,
So
it's
we
an
get the
error.
full-
on our part.
not that this, you don't have the room on the lot. You
Yeah,
do,
you know, I understand, it's an error.
but it needs
It's,
to
it
be
needs to be
presented.
corrected.
Yeah. So that was one thing. Number two, I kind of feel like Melissa, and you do have the space. What, there's a driveway there that goes from the front to the back also, correct?
Correct.
And that will remain as a driveway?
No, it's gonna be a yard.
That's gonna be the yard. So the yard would be going to the side and the back would be putting extra parking spots in
Correct.
from the way you explained it. Okay, I didn't understand that earlier. I think it's setting precedent for everybody else on there that wants to eventually redevelop to try to come in and ask for variances. And our code rewrite, which is helping to solve, I've been here quite a while, and helping to solve some of the issues we've run into in the past, we're trying to straighten out. I don't want to set a precedent so that every other house in that block thinks, well, because those sheds that are there are probably more than 50 years old. Who knows what our code was back then? I don't. I don't want to set that precedent for those when they come down, because our code says if you take something down that is non-conforming, you then have to go into the new code and make it work. Now, whether you want to ask for a variance and whether we will consider that, that's always a possibility. But I want you to understand that's one of the reasons I have a bit of a concern with this. Square footage shed application. Public reach out, that had to do with the asking the public works. That was something we could always put in as a condition to get there. However, what about neighbors' concerns?
Just like every application, the applicant had to send letters to everybody within 250 feet of the property. They had to post a sign to the property, and there was notice placed in the newspaper, so the neighbors had
That's
to
what took care of, other than talking to public works. I kind of feel the same way. I would like to see us start making our code words say do what they should. I have a little bit of a flexibility with 3 to 5 feet. I will admit that. But I won't go down to the 3. I think that we need to get some space along our driveways and alleyways and things like that, because they're just too narrow. Children walking down and running around and whatever. And I know that's your backyard. They're not going to go in there, but visually and things like that. I guess I can say I'm considering that.
Well, to be clear, I'd be happy with 5 feet.
But I really agree with Melissa too. We've spent 2 years working on our code. And if something is non-conforming and you take it down, you have to come into conformance. So the shed, I don't know about, because that's in setback.
I don't think we're proposing in the new code to change the regulations on sheds, which this is not.
And
That's
if it's
clear.
in there, it can remain, correct? Okay. And that's where I am at. Anybody else have any more questions?
Just a little additional point. I'm not comfortable with the shed garage conflation. You know, 120 square feet versus 543 square feet. Yes.
Well,
different.
yeah, and this is 400, if you take the 120 from the 576, you get 450 square feet. That's a big difference.
I'm not saying it's not.
I think the shed garage, what Melissa says, the shed garage is technically, a shed is a shed.
Yeah.
A garage is a garage. At a certain point, you know, you can put in an application, you can, you know, there's a lot of stuff you continue to do with that size of a building. And with what Lynn said, as far as setting precedents, pretty much for a fact. If I lived over there and, you know, and this was, we went, we adjusted it at all, then I would pretty much feel that I have every right to do it myself. But I've said enough, so.
Jeff, do you have anything else?
Well, in light of some of the comments, I guess this might be a question more for staff, and maybe it would be a question for our lawyers if they were here, but I'm having a hard time not questioning, like, if we make a decision allowing 5 feet, first of all, we are, or the town, seemingly the staff is suggesting 5 feet versus 3 feet as a compromise. And how could we not be construed as spot zoning this?
That's not the same thing as spot zoning.
And can you
But
understand why?
there's other legal terms that would possibly apply to that decision.
So what?
Arbitrary and capricious.
So spot zoning is actually giving some real zoning change, and this is not. This is still just a variance.
Right.
In what is what you're saying. But then I guess the other side of that coin or I'm going down the rabbit hole of what Lynn said of, if we allow this, it sets a precedent where how can we not allow it for everyone else on Boulder Street? Therefore, Boulder Street's rear setback now becomes 5 feet.
Well, Jeff, if you did the setback, or if you allowed everyone a variance and they knocked down all their existing buildings, you'd be 5 feet to the better right now.
Well, I agree with that, but the fact is that, I mean, I've done work on Boulder Street over the years, and I've gone toe to toe with homeowners back there, as well as had many conversations with previous public works directors. That street has always been, for the 27 years or so that I've lived in town, 28 years, that street is a very, very difficult street to plow snow on. And when houses are sitting on the property line or structures are sitting on the rear property line, as well as the sewer being back there, if that ever has to get dug up and your house is sitting on the property line, it makes it very difficult to work. And when an owner is saying, get away from my house, or your machine's going to touch my house because you're digging back there, the reality is that structure shouldn't be there in the first place. Everybody should have room to work and do their thing and plow their snow. And the fact is that street's been a mess for a long time. And if we say yes to 5 feet for a new structure being torn down, then we have to say yes to everyone else that wants to do that, or we'll end up in a lawsuit, seemingly. And that's my question to staff is, it seems like we're making a decision to allow a 5-foot rear setback on a street, and it's definitely in a street, it's not an alley. And so how do you say no to everybody else? And to Melissa's point, like, if the words on the page don't mean anything, then it's the decision that renders it meaningless. So, I feel you, and I do, like, I want everybody to be able to do what they want for their properties, but there's a reason why we have rules, and there's a reason why we have setbacks. And the minute we start changing the rules just because of, the fact that everybody else on that street has got their house or their structures or their sheds or their house sitting on the property line or very, very close to it, is a mistake that was made by the town, and the lack of control that the town had over what was being done many, many years ago. And we're tasked, our job is to do our job. And so I don't know, it just seems like setting a precedent where we're changing a rear setback by as much as 5 feet is a pretty big decision.
I agree with Jeff wholeheartedly, by the way. This is Amanda. That I feel like we are setting a new precedent. And when you look at the historical approvals, two of being 181, which is the set to be the whiskey. I just feel like we've been following what we've stated in our code for the past since 2018. We've really reduced the number of variances, and very specifically to this type of variance, which is the rear setback.
Is it 471 that's going on? 491. That backs up to Boulder, and we didn't give them any extra for their garage.
They didn't ask for it.
No, but I'm saying, but the rest of that street has some of those issues too, so that carries that into the next street of Boulder. And then this street currently, I don't think has any issues, does it? I think they're all set back. There might be.
The White House.
The White House, the old
Garage sits on the right
and
one.
the next one. So, yeah, I mean, there's room on this lot to do a 2-car garage, especially if you're talking about taking your yard to the side of the house. And then you mentioned that you want 2 more parking spaces back there. So I agree with Jeff and Melissa. And so anybody else have anything else to say?
No, thank you.
Okay. So we are,
Yeah, and any
Go
closing
ahead.
remarks?
so if you have no further requests,
And I guess I should have brought my attorney.
I'm not sure why, it's what the code says, but. Been that way. So may I have a motion? Anybody want to make the motion?
I make motion that we deny the variance, the request for a variance for 671 Main Street for the garage on Boulder Street.
May I have a second to the motion that Daryl made?
I second that motion.
Motion by Daryl, second by Amanda. Is there any further discussion? No? Michael, roll call vote, please.
Mike,
I'm not voting.
Oh, you can't, that's right, because you can't on this one. Lynn? Nay.
no, the motion was for denial, so if you.
So, Lynn, nay. Yes, you.
Melissa.
Daryl, I.
Jeff,
FI.
Amanda?
Amanda, I.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perhaps with some of the things that have been discussed tonight, you can do a redesign. And we will pass. Go on.
Michael, unless you rescind your variance application, this recommendation for denial will be forwarded to the town council and will be heard at next week's meeting.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Take bathroom break.
Amanda, can we take a 5-minute break? I'm sorry.
A second.
5-minute
Fast
break.
break.
Come to you. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. This, but everybody else will bring theirs. Be perfect.
Oh. We are resuming the meeting.
Thank you. And I will be recusing myself from the next topic or the next item on the agenda.
I will too. This is Jeff.
Jeff will be recusing. Michael, you will be voting.
I love voting.
I am going to stay and answer questions as her contractor if need be.
And I am the homeowner, so I will answer questions also. This has been a
And who is
project
the
of love.
I don't know
I will
about
hand
that.
over to Madison to present from the staff perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a project that y'all haven't seen in a while. They originally received approval for their addition in, I believe, 2021, and have been slowly but surely working off of their building permit to complete what was approved in 2021. However, since then, they have decided to not do the addition. And so that has obviously changed quite a bit from what was approved. So now they are only proposing to enclose the deck patio, like they were originally. They're just removing the addition from the approved plans. So that changes the building height from 21 feet 6 inches at the top of the privacy wall originally approved in 2021 to 19 feet 9 inches to the top of the ridge of the existing house. Building coverage is changing from 2,200 square feet to 2,087 square feet. And impervious coverage is changing from 2,714 square feet to 2,156 square feet. Everything that is being proposed is still within the code to be allowed. They're just literally just removing that addition from their approved plans. So staff is recommending approval.
Jeff, do you have anything? Amanda, do you have anything?
So the only correction I want to just make is that I think we will need to submit the final numbers. The final numbers on the actual request are accurate. So the building footprint goes, or the square footage is 1846, not that 2,000. I think that was just an error. So that I'd like just to correct on record.
Okay, that number was pulled directly from your plan set, but if that still needs additional.
Yeah, yeah, I'll submit that front sheet again to you because I had to have that corrected with our architect.
Thank you, Amanda.
What was that again, Amanda?
So the total square foot on the building goes today is 1,380 and it goes up to 1,846. We're just enclosing the porch, which adds an additional. There's no change in the building footprint.
Interest rates are low.
Okay, so that's Amanda. Does anybody from staff have any questions of Jeff or Amanda? No.
Commission?
Commission
No,
have questions of staff?
I do not. I do not.
I do not. Do you?
Not with staff, but Amanda. I have a question.
Okay.
Can I?
Yeah.
Amanda, so you're just really downsizing from what the original proposal is that correct?
That is correct. So we are no longer doing any of the addition in the back. We are just enclosing our current covered porch and redoing the interior.
Okay, understood.
Okay, does anybody? We're all done here. Is there anybody open to public comment? Anybody in the audience have anything to say? No? And is anybody else? With that, we'll close public comment. Okay. Motion?
Oh, I have a motion. I make a motion to approve. Change to approved plans. The approval of plans submitted thus this evening for 14 Eagle River Street.
Second.
Motion by Michael, second by Melissa. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Michael, I.
Lynn, I.
Melissa, I.
They're right.
Amanda, start building.
It looks
Yay.
nice.
Jeff, you got plenty of work this summer.
Busy man.
Thank you. I'm gonna rejoin the meeting now.
Okay.
And if you guys are okay, I'm going to go ahead and also drop to if that's okay with you guys.
Anybody have anything from Amanda? No? Okay. Yes, Amanda, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Amanda.
Staff reports, managers report. Since you've shown up, would you like to say anything?
Hi,
Hi.
appreciate everything you guys do. Appreciate the time you take to be on this commission. Any questions or concerns to bring up to the town that are not planning?
Go ahead.
I have one observation. Now that they're doing that construction up on up on Battle Mountain with the one lane and the stoplight and all that kind of stuff. I've noticed that there's very, very few semis coming down now, especially those pipe semis. The last couple of days, literally, when I'm watching the road in the morning, when the Leadville traffic comes down, I haven't seen a single semi come down. This is nice because they always are using their Jake brakes up there at that end of town. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's not very accommodating. Now, we do have a sign that says, don't use your engine brakes, but that's not working. But anyway, just an observation, we're not getting the traffic, semi-traffic.
That has been a little quieter. We are going to be on stage 2 fire restrictions on Friday morning. The Forest Service is working on the closure of the shooting range and getting that approved through their channels. It may be a little delayed on after Friday, but they already sent me an email that they're working on it, which is great. We have a new sign that we're going to put up on Cemetery Road that is it's the same size as the project sign we put at the Grouse Creek Trailhead, which is pretty large, 60 by 36, and it says it's a stage 2 fire ban, no explosives, no fires, and it says the shooting range closed on that one, and it'll be on town property. And then we're talking with the Forest Service about a location on US 24 for stage 2 fire ban signs. I don't think we've ever done that in the past, but they're large, and then they also have the ecemergency.org website address on it, which is where you would want to go if you need information, or if there was an evacuation, that's where it would be posted with maps and everything like that. So we're working on getting that going.
Can we get that somehow out to the public in the hallway, those directions for people who do not do internet?
Oh, well, these are physical signs, but yeah, we could do a small version.
Along the road.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, but these are just roadway signs, yeah. Yeah. And I don't, is there a phone alert on EC Emergency? It's only email, right? Or do they do phone alerts?
They do in cases of extreme emergency. They do.
You can sign up for it yourself.
Text out.
Oh, okay.
However, they had to stop using that as frequently as they used to due to cost. So now you have the Everbridge app that people can get regular traffic alerts through. But if there are evacuation notices, at that point, the county will push out through your text via GPS load.
And I think so there's that matter. I think another interesting update is we're not quite sure when Holy Cross Energy is going to really start work on that transmission line, but it's looking like a 2027 type thing. They're kind of doing some exploratory work for staging sites for construction and things like that. I haven't spoken with them directly, but I've just spoken with people indirectly that are working on their behalf.
And my understanding is that they need to come through our 1041 process for that.
And maybe we should make that just clear.
I think based on previous meetings with Holy Cross, they're fully aware of that.
Okay.
They also have 1041 with the county and all sorts of stuff.
Rob, since you seem to know a bit about the fire thing, will campfires they're not allowed right now, are they?
Well, they are in a contained enclosure until Friday.
Until Friday. What about backyard fires? This is something Amanda and I always worry about.
No, after Friday, no.
They can't either.
But even a fire, an uncontained fire outside of, even right now, like not outside of a ring, not outside of a contained zone with some sort of defensible space.
So as Friday, nothing that's run off.
But after Friday, no.
Nothing, not even gas.
A gas stove, an appliance, I think that's permitted.
Yeah, because that can be shut off.
It's something that can be shut off, yes, but like wood,
No.
no.
Okay. No more wood burning. Okay,
Yes,
that's
okay.
good.
Fire pits were okay under stage 1, but
Yeah, defined fire pit with wood, yeah, but an appliance, I think is like a gas grill is fine.
Wanted to make a comment, thanks to Daryl, who got me the information on the fireproof screening. And he also got me information on the fireproof tarp. And I have ordered a fireproof tarp made to cover my entire wood pile outside. It wasn't terrible. It was I ordered it bigger than I needed because I wanted it to go all the way to the ground, no kinks or anything. So I ordered 18 feet long by 14 feet wide, and with that company, because they give you a first time discount, it was $200. And it just ties down and it's good for 5 years. So if people are interested, I've got the info at home. I can get copies, or Daryl can probably get you a copy.
I got copies and I may bring a copy to you guys.
They were very nice dealing with it, and you can add grommets to how many ties you want. They've got the sticks to put in the ground that you can tie it down to. They've got everything for it. Really nice. I haven't gotten it yet. I've been notified that it is on its way. I mean, it's in the process of being made, so when I get it, if you want to see it. I don't know if I can lift it, but
My neighbor did this, did the same thing. He had a wood, wood pit storage. And he covered that with this, fire retardant. It's actually a welder's, part. So it works great. It works great for fire prevention.
Last thing though, also just thank you for the time and energy you took in your conversation with Jessica on housing. That was really informative. And I think I kind of had a feeling that the planning commission conversation was going to be a bit more in depth and productive than maybe the council conversation, because you guys kind of have the time or are able to kind of walk through something like that. Whereas council, there's so many things on the agenda. It's, it has to be kind of condensed, and that's such a difficult subject. So I really appreciate that. It did go well at council. She's working on some follow-up. She does want to do some individual one-on-ones with council members and kind of walk through, some of the concerns that were brought up about the future of a regional housing authority. But really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk through that with her.
anybody have any questions?
Nope.
No?
No.
We had our first market booth. It went well for you, and we sold 3 of Malcolm's books. So that was good. I had a little part at one of the tables for historical. And he has all these t-shirts and hats and things.
The scholarship fund, yeah. Yeah, and we'll be back on the 11th, July 11th.
Right. Because the market's this weekend, but the town's booth is not there. Okay. And then on the 4th of July, the whole market is not there. Because some of the vendors didn't want to necessarily be there on the 4th of July either. And Minturn is usually quieter than Vail on the 4th because everything's happening down there, so.
Yeah.
Okay, anything from staff? Anything from the planning commission?
Just the first Minturn concert of the summer concert series is tomorrow night. So we have 8 shows, I think, again for the summer, and tomorrow marks the first one. So tell all your friends. And
Who's the artist?
tomorrow is a band called the Chaotix. They are kind of some local guys and a couple from a husband and a wife from Denver. She's the singer, and he's a piano player, keyboard player, and full, mostly cover music that songs, all songs and then the rest of the bands for the summer, I think the majority of them are mostly original artists. There's one show that's a Radio Free Minturn, kind of a fundraiser. So that we're doing a Minturn Community Fund is kind of coordinating with Radio Free Minturn to do a fundraiser. So one of the shows in July, I think it might be the last show in July, is a fundraiser, and that is a bunch of local Minturn musicians that'll be a part of that show. But the rest of them I think all the rest of the shows are pretty much like original touring artists.
Okay, future meetings, July 8th. Is anybody not going to be here?
July 8th,
8th.
I will be there, yes.
On July 22nd, is anybody not going to be here?
I will not be here.
Huh? And
Party it up.
Is you
No, that's best in Wisconsin.
That's your regular party.
That's how you take your Kevin too excited.
That's Scott's,
Back with contact.
Scott's regular party.
And with that, may I have a motion, please?
Well, I make a motion in tonight's meeting.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Michael, second by Daryl. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jeff, you wanna go home?
I am home. I'm with my family in
I
Michigan.
thought maybe you were at your office working hard on all these projects you've got.
No, I'm in